Hi, welcome to episode number 1 of our training diaries with Kim and Jason.
So we're going to put together this roundup or chat, maybe weekly, probably weekly, of what we've been doing during the week, what the main gist of our training is and why we're doing it, and just to give you an insight into what we're doing. We're not saying this is the right way to train or the only way to train or how you should train, but it's just always interesting, I think, to see what other people are doing, especially when they might be doing something a bit different to what you might expect.
Yeah, and I think we kind of pick up quite a lot with the people that we coach as well. So it's not always just about us. It's about what we see, kind of common things going on, sometimes seasonal, sometimes races and events, things like that as well. So yeah, we think this is a good opportunity to maybe put some of that across. So we're going to start. We want to keep these reasonably short, but we're going to start, as it's the first one, it might be a little bit longer, but we're going to start with a question to you, Kim. So what are you, I know what you're doing, but no one else does really. So what are you doing next year and why?
So my big goal, hopefully, is UTMB, if that happens. If I get in, rather than if it happens. So yeah, it's been a target since I started ultra running, I think, really, or trail running, a decade ago. Just because it's the one to do, isn't it? It's the big one. And then because we've been out to see it so many times, I know a lot of people have issue with some of the things that have happened in the last few years with UTMB, but it's such a spectacle and it's an amazing thing to be part of. And it's an amazing achievement as well to do the whole TMB route. So if you don't know what that is, it's 105-ish miles starting in France, and you go through Switzerland and Italy, and you come back round to France again, around Mont Blanc, sort of in the middle. So yeah, it's huge. So that's my biggie for next year.
Cool.
And I think that's the reason. Yeah, I just want to do it.
We were in Chamonix, weren't we, this year? We've been most years, I think.
Yeah.
And the atmosphere is just amazing.
I actually ran down the finish straight twice this year with other people. So I've kind of leached off them a little bit and had a bit of a taster, but yeah. Glory
seeking, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was good. No, it was. It's an amazing event to be, even just to be in Chamonix, even if I'm not doing it. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And what about you?
What
are you doing next year?
So, event specific wise, I'm not quite sure yet. There's still a few things up in the air whether I get entries or not, but I guess the big thing is that it will be some sort of triathlon. That's the aim, preferably with hills, possibly off-road stuff as well, but yeah, anything with hills suits me, and off-road kind of suits me. Why I want to do that, I've been sort of ticking over with stuff for the last couple of years, but I'm ready for a change, and maybe less about the event itself, but I love the training, I love the variety in training. My background was always cycling or mountain biking when I was younger, and the running actually started because I was trying to keep fit for mountain biking while I was travelling. So it's nice to come back to the biking. Swimming wise, that scares the bejesus out of me. I can swim okay, I'm not very fast, but getting in the water with other people around me, that absolutely, that's probably the thing that I'm most apprehensive about, but at the same time it's something I want to conquer and get over, and I'm getting there with it. But yeah, the swimming is the biggest learning curve so far. It's hard in so many ways.
It's a lot more technique driven than the other disciplines, isn't it?
I can't just train fitness wise my way through it. There's an element of skill and technique that I haven't got, that I need to work on. So yeah, but I enjoy that. I love learning something new as well. And cycling wise, I've never trained properly for cycling. When I was younger, I used to race for the army, mountain biking and stuff like that, but the training was always a bit ad hoc and random, just making it up as I go along. I'm hopefully a little bit more knowledgeable now, although still very naive when it comes to triathlon. So yeah, so I'm quite excited about some different stuff.
Yeah.
And then, what have you done? So what have you been doing in the last month? Obviously, UTMB is not till the end of August next year, so it's a little while away. So we sorry, I'll go back a bit. Yeah, we were away in the Alps until beginning of September.
Yeah. Where
we came back about mid-September. So what have you been doing since then?
So to backpedal a bit, I suppose, after the Hard-Mose 160 last year. Is it only last year? Obviously I was very tired after that race, but I had I had more than a bit. I had a quite severe, just a moment of what the hell am I doing? Why this isn't healthy? I was really tired for a very long time. I just found it really difficult to get back into any kind of groove with running training. Because I was just going out and feeling rubbish every time I went out. Like I could hold paces and stuff like that, but everything, even easy runs, felt really hard. So there's probably an element of post 160 to that. There's definitely a hormonal element to that. Maybe even some post-viral stuff that goes back even further to do with historic illness and stuff. But because I had that realisation, it's taken me a little while to go, right, just back off the running again. And I did back off the running, but I didn't back off enough, because you don't want to admit that that would probably help. So also in the middle of all of that, I decided that I wanted to do a road marathon.
Oh yeah.
In October. I was meant to do one in May, but I had a foot issue. So my grand scheme was to get a good for age for London for next year, just to go and experience London as well. So yeah, I was sort of training-ish for a road marathon as well. And again, it wasn't because we were in the Alps. That was my reason. I nearly said excuse then. That was my reason for not giving it full bore to train for the road marathon. And I didn't want to. No. I didn't want to go full bore training for a road marathon when we were away in a place with mountains.
Yeah, we wanted to enjoy
have a holiday as well.
Being there, didn't we?
Yeah.
And doing different things. There wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah. So I trained for it. Probably like 50% for a road marathon, 50% I was enjoying being out there. So I was working hard in my training as well, running wise, and I was running not loads, but more than I maybe should have been again, based on how I felt. So then, yeah, I did Chester in October, and then since October, that was that early?
Yeah, that was my birthday weekend.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Steady a nice premiere in.
Kim seems to plan these really good events around my birthday weekend, so it's nice.
I enjoyed your Brewers Fair meal.
Yeah, it was nice. Yeah.
So yeah, after that it was like, right, I need to draw a line and do something different. I again had a little bit of time where I was trying to. So my aim is for the next few months, sort of since October up to the new year, was to spend more time in the gym with more of a focus of trying to improve my 3 big lifts, powerlifting, so bench, squat and deadlift. So yeah, I was doing that, but at the same time I was still running 5 times a week and just being tired because I was lifting heavy in the gym at the same time as trying to run 5 times a week. So we had a few discussions, didn't we? And I eventually realised that it wasn't practical and it wasn't helping me, and I probably wasn't getting what I wanted from the gym because I was trying to run.
Enjoying it though,
and I wasn't enjoying it.
Yeah, I think that's something that is something I've noticed with maybe being a bit more aware of triathlon and other sports now, is that running, you just don't tend to get that natural off season that you do in a lot of other sports, where it just stops for 3 months or whatever, or you do something very different. I think some of the good runners, when you look at what they do, or the ones that have been doing it for a longer period of time,
it's not just successful
flash in the pan for 2 years and then you never see from them again, are ones that have an off season and do something like cross country skiing or ski touring or something totally different for a few months. I think you need that break. And
also I'm becoming less and less interested in results, and I love races, but I think less for results now than I used to, and I'm very much more interested in being healthy and lasting a long time, and not necessarily in running, just in life. Like, I want to be as strong and as healthy as possible for as long as possible. So that's where the gym comes in, and I really enjoy going to the gym. We've got a great little local gym that we've both been going to for a few years, and the workhouse gym in Malton. It's brilliant. It's just it's a small, friendly, very weight orientated gym, so I've learned a lot from them as well, from Sam and Ellis. We've had a few sessions where they've helped me improve my technique, because again, I'm not a great squatter, for instance, and I pinned myself under the bar a couple of times trying to bench press.
You stuck
more than I should have done, which was funny. So it's been nice. It's been nice to go and do something like that. And I like the feeling of being strong more, I think, than the feeling of being fast. So this is, it's a place I'm at right now where I'm just enjoying picking up heavy stuff and putting it back down again.
And you feel good for it as well, don't you?
Yeah, and so in the last few weeks I've cut my running down. There's been a couple of bubbles where I've had to go and mark a 12-mile fell race out the day before, but I'm not doing it at any speed. I'm walking a lot. So I only ran twice this last week, and one was 4 miles or so. So it's not, the volume of running has come down, and I don't think that's a bad thing, because I am thinking about UTMB, and I'm thinking about UTMB in terms of strength again rather than pace. I will work on pace a bit into the new year, which we'll talk about another time, but I want to build that solid, strong structure so that when I'm running down mountains especially, I'm not completely bashing myself to pieces. Yeah. Cool.
So the last few weeks has been just ticking over with that routine. And
I mean, a good routine of gym a few times a week, working on those 3 individual things with other sort of accessory exercises around them. There's a little bit of HIIT in there, very small element of HIIT, high intensity interval training, just to attempt to keep my toe in with that, and then running when I feel like it. And a bit of cycling as well. I've commandeered Jason's Zwift account because I'm not getting my own.
Just have to make sure you delete.
I just delete it every time.
At the end of
so
your ride.
You won't see my Zwift on Strava because I'm not allowed to, it's Jason's account. But I'm only doing a couple of hours, and I'm just again using it as an easy spin.
It's alright though, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then you pretty much yoga.
Yoga
nearly every day.
Yoga every day, and again that's very easy.
Are you one of these yoga instructors?
Yeah, I am. But I'm one of these yoga instructors that does it in really baggy clothes by myself, and it's mostly laying down and stretching. I don't do.
You do a class.
I teach a class once a week, a very small class. But it's mostly just for me. And I am, again, this is probably something to look at another time, but I'm starting to look at mobility, a little mobility course as well, just for myself in the next month or so. So that's about joint health and ligaments and tendons and stuff. But yeah,
Cool. Good.
all
Lots going
round
on.
stuff. Yeah.
Lots going on, not just one thing though.
No. Oh, and
It's
I
nice.
have started taking creatine as well.
Ah,
Is this relevant?
I guess, yeah.
I've started taking creatine, which is something that a lot of like bodybuilders take. But I've been looking into what I could do to improve. Well, I want to gain some muscle mass. It's not working at the moment. We'll see next month.
So
But-
if you get pinned to the bench again.
Yeah. I am planning on going heavier next month, but again, it's something to look at another time. So yeah, I started taking creatine probably 6 weeks ago, just as a supplement to see if I can make some gains. But I found it also seems to be helping my brain. It's made me a bit more awake and a bit sharper. At least I think that's what it is. Something's working in that area.
Cool.
Okay,
Good.
what about you?
What was the question again?
What's your training look like
What's
in
the
the
training?
last month?
I guess without going back too far. But end of July.
That's ages.
I was going to do yours like a year or two ago. The end of July I injured myself running, partly because I fell over, partly because I didn't have a very good running base that I was coming from, and I was probably doing a little bit too much fast stuff too soon. But yeah, I tripped over and damaged my PCL and the popliteus in the back of the knee. Anyway, I did a bit damage to my knee. Went into denial for a couple of weeks and carried on trying to do stuff, and then made it worse, as you do. So then we were in the Alps for 6 weeks and I couldn't really run, so that kind of sucked. So took my bike, bought a wetsuit before we went, and just started biking and swimming because they were two things that I could do. Really enjoyed it. Really, I enjoyed biking anyway, and I was biking a lot this year already. And then swimming in lakes out there was just beautiful, fantastic. Definitely there was a bit of fear going on with that, especially when you're the only person swimming in a big lake surrounded by forests and stuff. But so started swimming and biking, enjoyed that, and thought, why not keep this going? So I think a lot of training is enjoying what you're doing. It's not just about the event and the goal and focusing on that event itself. It's making sure that the stuff you're doing 99% of the rest of the time is stuff that you enjoy, and I like that variety. So I would probably say I started swimming at the beginning of August. Just 2, maybe 3 times a week. Nothing. There was no focus to any sessions. It was just literally getting in the water and swimming for 20-30 minutes and building up from there. And then I was biking anyway. I was trying to tick off a few of the climbs and the cols that were there while we were in the Alps. That was great. Loved that. And then decided while we were out there I was going to start to do some triathlon training through the winter, with an aim to doing something next year. I think I'd like to do something like the Norseman, which is an Ironman distance triathlon, but in cold water, and a hilly bike route and a hilly run, which kind of suits me. So I think that's the kind of longer term goal, but I think I've got a lot to learn in that process as well. So there'll be a few, imagine there'll be quite a few short distance triathlon and duathlons just to practice it. So that's the long term goal. So I've just been getting into learning how to train like a triathlete. So being mediocre at 3 different sports, and then trying to get even better at them as you go along. I mean, I've always thought like it's quite, it's impressive when you look at the really fast Ironman triathletes that can do just over like 2.5 hour marathon times, and they're not doing 100 miles a week running. They're doing a lot of just volume generally. So I think that's quite interesting, and quite interested to see how it all ties together. So yeah, so since October has just been getting into figuring out a routine that works, that I can start working on the things that I need to do the most. The running's been less of a concern, and while I've been injured, I've not really worried about the running too much, and then I've just focused on the swimming and the bike, and gradually reintroduced the running. Now the injury's sort of sorted out, lots of physio work and exercises for that. So yeah, in a good place with it now. Swim 4 times a week, bike, did 170 miles this week, which was pretty good. On the bike, half of it was inside on the Swift. Yeah, but swimming's hard. I'm finding that really like I'll go and have a swim and I think, oh, it's almost there, but it's still slow, and then I'll go another day and it's just crap. I'm just like Bambi in the water.
You tumble turns.
I started trying to do flip turns. Flip turns sounds cooler than
I think tumble sounds
better.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Flip turns last week, I started practicing those, so they're coming on. So yeah, it's cool just learning something new like that as well. Yeah, it's not all about getting faster in the times, although that is, but yeah, it's learning new stuff that's a bit out of my depth, literally. Cool. Yeah, so have you got any tips that you've picked up over the last few weeks? What's your top tip of the month?
I thought we were doing one top tip.
Oh, okay. So we're doing my one. We're doing my one. All right. So my top tip, especially this time of year, because I think this time of year where it's darker nights, it's a bit crappy outside. It's it's easier to find excuses not to go and train as such. So my big thing at the moment has been obviously learning, trying to do 3 different sports. It's, takes a little bit more organising. So my big one has been just streamlining things, making it as easy as possible to do stuff. So for example, swimming is, I've made that as easy as I can. I have a bag with all my swimming gear in, that just sits ready. I'll pack, towel and trunks in there the night before, so literally the morning I just get up, pick my bag up and I'm out the door. Just little things like that, I think. Yeah, having Zwift set up, having the turbo set up is nice as well, because then, if it is absolutely horrendous and chucking it down outside, then just getting on the turbo trainer is a lot easier. It minimises risk as far as traffic and stuff like that's concerned as well. So yeah, just trying to make things as easy as possible. Have you done anything like that apart from hijacking my Zwift?
Get Jason to make things as easy as possible for me.
So you just manipulate me to do things like put your bike on the turbo trainer.
All it takes is me saying, I don't know how to put my bike on the turbo trainer, and you do it for me.
Okay, cool.
No, I guess in a similar vein, then making things as easy as possible makes a routine as easy as possible, and routine is the only way you're going to be consistent, isn't it?
Yeah.
So consistency is key, regardless of what you're doing. As long as you're doing most of what you've planned most of the time.
Yeah.
Making things easy helps get into that routine, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I started training swim, bike and run train beginning of October, less running. And when I started, I felt I could have done more than I was doing, but at the same time, I didn't want to only be able to do that for 2 weeks and then have to kind of have a big rest, or it'd just be too much. So maybe I could have done more over the last 8 weeks, but I think I've missed one swim session in the last 8 weeks, and that's been it. Which, that was a bit out of my control anyway. So I think just being consistent, not making it too big and scary too soon. Yeah, that's it. So we'll be back maybe next week and let you know how it's going. But have a good week.